Hey, everybody. I'm in my closet, aka the clubhouse, and I'm taking over the Made from Scratch broadcast. And I hope I don't break it. Tonight, I have a very special guest. Oh my goodness, there's so much to read about her. Let me get ready. She is, you may be able to guess, she is an Amazon bestseller. She is an author of Your Team Loves Mondays, right? She has a 4-book children's book series coming out. The first one is You've Got Gifts coming out in November of 2020. Then she has 3 more coming out in 21. You've got values, you've got skills, you've got personality. And my guest has all of these things. She also has written Maximize 365, actionable tips to transform your everyday life. 365 means 365 days, if I'm not wrong. And her mission is to keep others, to help them know their 4 pillars of career fit. She is awesome. Her name is Kristin Sherry. Welcome, Kristin.
Hi, Wendy. It's so awesome to be here.
How are you tonight?
I am excited. I was really tired leading up to this because I've been writing all day. I've been writing 7 days a week. I'm under a deadline. But the second that I got jazzed up to be on here, I'm awake. I'm awake and ready.
Good.
Ready to laugh. I got my belly muscle ready.
Well, that's a lot of pressure, Kristin, but
See, we're already getting a head start.
I know. Well, welcome to my closet. There's room for a couple more people. Hopefully some people will join in the closet with us.
I'm in my home office.
This is my home office.
I don't work from my office, though. I often work from my couch.
Oh, I can do that too. I can be flexible. Wherever there's an extension cord that can plug in, pretty much.
Definitely.
I've been working from home for 8 years now.
Oh, nice.
Have you? How long have you been working from home?
It's going on 6 years next month.
6 years, yeah. So very good. So I was going to ask you, what is the funniest thing you do right before you go on? Because I know you've been on a lot of podcasts. You've been a guest for many, many podcasts. And what's the funny thing you do before you either go on a Zoom call or what do you do?
I usually put on a hat to cover my gray hair. But today I found this spray that you color your hair so you cover the gray. So I usually go get a hat because, I haven't been able to see my stylist as everyone else has not as well. So I usually go get a hat. But today I sprayed my head.
Well, it looks great. So you sprayed your head right before?
Yeah, it's called Magic Root, ladies, for those of you who need the magic root.
Well, you know what I do is I brush my teeth.
Look how fancy this Made from Scratch broadcast is, where the comments are up on the screen. This is so fancy.
Lori's in the clubhouse. Thank you, Lori.
So fancy.
I'm glad you made it. She promised me she'd hop in. I saved her a spot right next to Pika Bunny.
I love Lori. She's the best. And we're going to have so much fun tonight, Wendy. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure, I told you.
No, I bring the fun.
Okay, good. Good. I'm glad. I didn't bring any wine.
I already drank mine. My glass is empty.
You're going to drink it. Okay, good. Well, listen, let me tell you a little something I did today. I took the intro to the UMAP. And I'm going to tell you my 5 top things. And my first question is, after I tell you what my first 5 are, I need to know if I need to apologize to my children.
You actually did the pillar 1 strengths of UMAP, and so you know your top 5 strengths?
I do. I just
Oh my goodness, I'm going to type them down.
I don't know if I should apologize to my children or what.
Never.
Let's see. Okay, my first one says that I'm a relator.
Oh, of course.
You can see
you build connections easily with anyone, old, young, different socioeconomic statuses, different backgrounds. You can just make a connection with anyone. However, you're very choosy on who you let in your inner circle.
That is true. But you're in there.
Yay, me!
I mean, I can go in the elevator and talk to anybody in the elevator, and my kids are like, "Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "I don't know." Just
Because I'm a relator. We talk about the relator talent in my children's book, You've Got Gifts, and you have that.
and I have that. Okay, good,
Yeah,
good, good.
that's
And
exciting.
my second one is ideas.
Ideation. So that makes perfect sense that you're a children's book author. You're excited by ideas. You seek connections other people don't miss, and ideas spin around and around in your head and create more ideas. So you have to sleep with a notepad next to your bed and maybe even have a Sharpie in the shower. Not a Sharpie. Dry erase marker, so you can write your ideas when you're having a shower, and you have to have a voice recorder when you're driving, because the ideas are like little babies. They come out, and if you don't love and nurture them, they go away.
You're not kidding.
Mm-hmm.
I have literally written on the shower wall before, trying to remember what I was like, not with a marker, but with my finger. Oh my gosh, that's a great idea. Too bad I can't read this later. Yes, there's a lot going on in there, Kristin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have ideation in my top 5 as well. So I feel your pain. More ideas than time or money to fund them.
Yeah, money. Yeah. Yeah, if I had more money, I don't know if I'd ever sleep. I'm also an individual.
Oh, individualization are people who are curious about what makes other people tick. They're able to see the strengths and what makes people special. Just getting to know someone, you're able to quickly see what makes them unique.
Oh, the science behind this is incredible. It's like you're in there. It's like you're
I'm in your head.
Sorry about that. Okay, and it says I'm a connector.
Connectedness is a really cool strength. It's a little bit difficult for people to understand who don't have it, but people with connectedness feel connected to all of the earth and all of the people in it. And that's why it's important to do no harm, because when you do harm to one, you harm all. And there's this sense of feeling a connection of all of humanity. But also people with connectedness are very big picture thinkers that can help people see where they fit into things. And they give people hope by being able to help people see where they fit in. And it's why you have this universal interest in spreading kindness, because of this connection you feel to all of humankind. Everything happens for a reason. And, people with connectedness tend not to sweat the small stuff because they see the big picture. There's a master plan at work.
Well, I think my superpower is untangling. Do you think that's because I'm a connector? Because I can see the big picture and kind of unravel it all?
Yeah.
Interesting. And my fifth one is I'm futuristic.
Oh, me too.
You are? Well, what does that mean?
People with futuristic are visionaries. That's a big word for people to want to accept. It's scary. Like what's that guy's name that created the iPhone? Steve Jobs. I'm kidding.
That guy.
It's like, I'm no Steve Jobs, but futuristic thinkers get excited about visions of the future, and they love to think about what's possible. Wouldn't it be great if? But then they create stepping stones on how to reach that future goal. So they're really good at figuring out what do I need to do next, and what do I need to do next to bring that vision to reality.
Well, it's amazing that I only spent 20 minutes taking the test, and you're already in my head.
I'm in your head.
You're in my head.
Where's your head at?
The domain key, it gave me a domain key. So tell me what that means. It says executing. I have 4 things under my domain key. What did that mean?
What that means is your strengths fall under 4 different areas. You have people who build connections easily with other people. Those are the relating talents. You have people who are good at influencing, persuading. Those are the influencing talents. They move people to action. Then you have people who have executing talents. Those are the doers. They're motivated towards certain goals. And then you have the thinkers. So that's sort of like how they view the world. Everything happening is between their ears. So when we look at your strengths, connectedness, individualization, and relator are relationship-oriented talents, and futuristic and ideation are thinking talents. So that means on the whole that you like to think things up and then work with people to accomplish goals, versus working through people to accomplish goals if you're an influencer, or versus just going and doing it alone if you had executing and thinking strengths. So You're a collaborative ideator and brainstormer.
Okay. My kids know who they are, but I might have them take it anyway. So I
Yeah.
can get into their heads and know.
It's nice to have the language, right? So
Right.
you might have that awareness, that self-awareness, but the awareness only matters to the extent that you can articulate it to other people. I mean, it doesn't only matter. It's good for your own compass and decision making. But if you're ever looking for a job, or if you're trying to pitch an idea, or whatever you're trying to do, you need to be able to articulate your gifts to other people at some point in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it says, but it does say I'm an influencing as well. Does it executing and influencing go together?
Well, these top 5, none of these are influencing strengths. So I don't know. Maybe it's saying that because of your what else is in your top 10. Maybe I don't know. I'd have to see the report you're looking at.
So it's an
But you have
outlier.
thinking relating strengths, which I can tell because you've got this. You're a creator, and you've got to have something going on between your ears to be a creator.
I like to find connections too. Yeah, like it's probably why I tutor math too. Is like I like to make the connections, relationship building and strategic thinking. So basically, that's what you were saying as well.
Yeah.
Well, I was telling my husband that I took this, and I didn't. I just said the 5 really quickly. Did
you download the Strengths Insight Guide?
Not yet. No.
Okay, make sure you download that because it's custom to you. All of the write-ups. So when under at Gallup.com, when you do this assessment under reports, you'll see Strengths Insight Guide and download that. It's custom to you and it's fascinating. You'll feel like people have been peeking in your windows.
Well, you already feel like you're in my head.
Yes, that's just my thing. It's a fun cocktail party trick.
Ooh, that's kind of fun.
5 words and I'll tell you all about you.
Parties again, right?
Yes.
Okay, so my husband's question to you is, like I'm asking it, but he wants me to ask this. He wants to know who my ideal mate should be. So with these 5, I think he wants to make sure that he's just curious if you have those 5 things: relator, ideas, individual, creator, and futuristic. What complements that?
Someone who has someone who's a planner, someone who's good at planning the execution and pulling through things to completion would be a good partner for you.
Oh, so I can stay married to my husband because that's what.
Is he good at that? Yeah. Well done. Well done.
He's excellent at that. And then he realizes like I'm like a floaty balloon, but he holds the string. He gives me as much string as I need, but like he'll keep me from like floating.
That's pretty much my husband and I as well. I am also the balloon.
Yeah, and it's fun to be the balloon. Unless you get a little high and it gets scary, but they're still holding on.
As long as nobody tries to pop my balloon, I'll get along just fine with you.
Don't even. I can't believe you went there. There are a lot of people who try to pop my balloon. I'm keeping to myself. I'm not.
Well, they don't stay in my life. Balloon poppers don't stay in my life. I just finished writing an entry in my new book, Maximize 365, about friendships. You know that Jim Rohn quote that says that you're an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with? Research shows that's actually not true. You are actually a product of your entire network. So there's a lot of research done on how our relationships affect us. And so I'll just give you one example. If you have a friend who gains a lot of weight and becomes obese, you have a 45% chance yourself in the next 2 years of that happening to you. Our friends really influence us. I know, right? It's really interesting.
That's because we're sharing desserts and stuff, right?
Probably, yeah.
And recipes.
But happiness, that's sort of obvious. If we're around happy people, it affects our happiness. But what's interesting is they've shown a statistic correlation between our friends' friends and us, even if we don't know them, because they're being influenced by their friends, and then they influence us. So it's really important that we take good care on how we procure our network and the people we spend time with. So when people are like a crabs in the bucket, people who push their limiting beliefs on us. Like, can you imagine if my husband or my friends were like, I don't know, you probably shouldn't try and write a children's book, or you probably shouldn't try to become a full-time author because, you know, nobody makes any money writing books, and then tried to like put me into this fear space, and then I never achieved my dreams. That doesn't happen to me because I only surround myself with people who encourage me to follow my dreams and who believe in me to accomplish them.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but when I say to my kids, I'm doing, like, if I'm doing something new and they don't know, they're like, "What? You're doing what?" And then they have to go, and then they go, "Oh, okay." So it's not like I don't have anybody. They're not trying to pop my balloon, but they're just like, "You're a different color balloon."
Well, I mean, we can't get rid
today."
of our kids anyway. I mean, so it is what it is there.
I'm here to embarrass them. That's all I'm here to do, and not break Gabriel's, broadcast. Is all I can say.
Well, yeah, my 19-year-old, he's my reality check and everything. He's always like kind of like the on my ideas and stuff because he's a natural skeptic. Although he saw the cover of my new book on Instagram, he never comments on my Instagram posts, and he wrote, "Wow."
Can we show
Karen, magic. That's it.
Mel Schroeder, you go, girl.
Yeah, Mel Schroeder is amazing. Oh my goodness. He's like, that looks like a real children's book. You don't say.
I've heard that before too. Is that for sale? Like, people are buying that? I'm like, yes, they're buying that. This is for my kids. Yes, they're buying it.
Well, a prophet hath no honor in his own home, so that's to be expected. I think that's normal. If you talk, hear interviews from celebrities, they'll talk about that all the time. Like, their kids are like, yeah, big deal, you won an Academy Award. So if they're not impressed when you win an Academy Award, we should probably just stop trying to impress them altogether, I say.
I guess. So you were talking about your your husband is you can stay with your husband because he's your ideal mate with the UMAP.
Yeah, we're opposites for sure, and it works so well. See, you know what's interesting? When I was a kid, my mother's an executive coach, and my mother used to do this thing where she would say, when someone is different from you, they fill in your gaps. And so I was raised with the perspective that opposite and different is good because we become a full functioning, holistic person together. So my husband has an accounting background, and he works in like cybersecurity and software architecture and all this stuff. All this stuff I don't do. And so he's technical, he's analytical, he's a deliberative person, he's planful, and I'm like, let's go to Aruba next week. That's the way my mind works.
Mine too. We would be a mess together, let me tell you.
A mess, absolutely. I'm very spontaneous, and he suffers me very well. Bless his heart.
So, speaking of husbands, Mother's Day is coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And I go, what are we doing for Mother's Day? And then every year he goes, you're not my mother. I know I'm not your mother. So
he's the surrogate for your children.
See, I can't be with my kids. My son lives in Boston, and my daughter.
Oh, Melissa. Mel.
Hey, Mel's here.
Oh, I'm so excited yes, Mel is the best. If you ever need a children's book, you should go. Is it melschroederart.com, her website? I feel like it's melschroederart.com.
You can find her on Instagram.
On Instagram. Oh my goodness.
When I found her, I was like, oh my God.
She is so good.
But Pika Bunny was already Pika Bunny, but I was like,
Oh, you were asking me, see, this whole squirrel thing with us is happening. You were asking me what I was doing for Mother's Day. I'm going to see if I can get my crew to clean the house.
For Mother's Day?
Yes, I want my house cleaned. You can't even imagine how messy my house is because I'm working on a book deadline, and I have a 3 and a 6-year-old home 24/7. I swear, like, DSS would come and take my children away. It's so bombed. It's unreal.
You posted a picture of your daughter covered in something red. You said, we were silenced for 10 minutes, and then this.
Yeah. I
What?
wonder if other parents have this going on where they're trying to
Oh,
work and their kids are getting into like these disasters. Yeah. So yesterday I was working on my new book, not the children's series, but my Maximize 365. And all of a sudden I hear this little voice say, "Mommy, can I have a bath?" And I look up and she has painted her hair and her entire face with red paint. She was completely naked, and her arms and her chest and her face. I mean, and she's standing there, and of course, in the moment, I didn't know what happened, and I see her covered in
red.
red,
It was
and I almost had a heart attack because she looked like that scene from Carrie when she shows up at the prom.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. It was pretty
She
scary.
totally did, and she had this look on her face of like it was just crazy, and people were terrified by the picture when I
I
put it up
was a
on
little. I
Facebook.
was like, "What is that?" I
It was
was
terrifying.
so
When I realized it wasn't blood, then I was like, where else is that red paint?
I know. Was she rolling around?
It
she
was all over the floor, multiple door handles. She had tried to turn on the bathtub herself, I think. I don't know, because the bathtub was covered. I mean, in minutes she had done all of that. So it took me a little while to clean all that up. But yeah, that was interesting. I'm curious to know in the comments, do you have any stories? I'm wondering if other parents are dealing with this or if this is just me.
Well, my brother probably. I want to hear some. I would like to see some comments too. But my brother posted a picture of one of my nieces, and she had this mustache drawn on her with permanent marker.
Oh no, permanent. Oh,
Purple. I remember. It's been a while, but like, yeah, I'm sure a lot of them do that. A lot of kids do that.
every day. I feel like every day I hear my husband going, "What did you do?" It's like the mantra of the COVID-19 situation. What did you do? It's really funny.
Wendy, where were you? What were you doing? I'm like, I don't know.
I know, right? It's
I
like
didn't know what I was
I
doing.
feel the parental judgment, but I don't really care. Honestly, I feel like I have really been able to roll with the punches because week 1 into homeschooling and all of this, I told my husband I'm going to lose my mind if I don't create some parameters around what I can and can't do. The first week was a nightmare. I was just a ball of anxiety. So I told my husband, here's what's up. I am going to write books and I'm going to homeschool and I'm doing nothing else. Nothing else. I wash dishes because we have to do that, but I'm not vacuuming. I'm not doing, and I do clean toilets because that's nasty if you don't clean your toilet. But I'm doing the bare minimum around here with the housework because if I try to keep this house clean with 2 little kids here and homeschool and do my job, and I've even stopped taking networking calls for the most part because I can't put forth a good impression when I have blood curdling screaming happening unexpectedly. So yeah, it's bananas around here, but I'm rolling with it and I'm happy every day because I've lowered my expectations.
Well, I hear what you're saying because we both work from home, right? So
Yeah.
it feels like, well, there shouldn't be that big of a change, but there is because my husband's home now and he's doing his Zoom calls. So the desk for him is in the bonus room and our laundry room is off the bonus room. So normally he's looking into the bonus room. So his computer is looking, like toward the window. Oh no. So he decides to sit on the opposite side of the table/desk. And I decide, oh, I'm going to sneak downstairs and get something out of the laundry room in my robe. And yeah, I was walking down the stairs in his meeting in my robe. And I look over.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's a good thing you had a robe on. I'm seeing all these little videos people are putting like on Twitter of their spouses coming around the corner, like in their underwear. I'm like, why would you put that on the internet? Like that's grounds for divorce. Come on now.
Well, true. But yeah, so I just did a duck and only one person saw it. And Terry said, he was trying to figure out why she was laughing so hard, and then she said, "Well, yeah, your wife came down and just
Did
destroyed."
you see the video of that Jennifer that peed on her Zoom call? She was on a meeting with all of her team, like 50, it was like 8 people, 10 people, a lot of people. And she was just walking around with her laptop and she set it on the ground and sat down and peed. And everybody was just like, oh. And the woman who was talking was just like, what? What's going on? And they're like, nothing, just keep going. And then all of a sudden you see the screen like going black. She just forgot, I guess, and just went to like pulled her pants down on camera and went to the bathroom. And who's that fool that put that on the internet? That's what I want to know.
Oh no! Oh, I'm glad I didn't see that. I'd have a nightmare about something like that.
Yeah. Well, I've been Zooming for so long that I know better. I do wear pants when I Zoom.
I do too. I'm
You
wearing
never
pants
know
right
when you're going to
now.
stand up, right? I mean, you just, yeah.
That's funny. Well, just for Mother's Day, I still want to hear. I want to hear what is the best mother's gift you've ever received.
What's the best Mother's Day gift I've ever received? You know, my kids really are good about Mother's Day, so that's hard. I think probably my favorite was when my daughter, no, oh, hands down, it's hanging next to my bed. How can I forget this? I'm gonna cry. My favorite Mother's Day gift was when my 6-year-old was 2 or so. My oldest is 23 years old. And so he was like 19 years old. He got an art canvas and he painted the feet of all my children, and they stepped on this canvas with their feet, and they all wrote messages um,
No,
under their foot.
no.
Yeah. It hangs next to my bed over my side table. I cried a river. Yes, I did.
Of course you did. Oh, my kids are pretty thoughtful.
My oldest is really pretty high in empathy, so he thinks of thoughtful gifts like that.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
You should put a picture up, like for the weekend,
Yeah,
and show us what that
that's
looks
a
like.
good idea. I'll do a Facebook post
I
on that.
have a couple of those.
Ideation
Once
you're
a
talking about.
year. Yeah, I would love to see that.
Yeah, I will. I'll do that.
And that would be a great gift for somebody who's at home and doesn't have a lot of like you could do an outline of the hands and
Mhm.
things on a
I do have that of my daughter from Mother's Day last year. It says a child's hand traces a mother's heart or something like that. Or I can't remember. There's a little blurb, and it's my daughter's hand when she was 2.
yeah, because a lot
Yeah,
of
it's
people
cute.
can't go out and buy gifts. But one of my favorite gifts from my daughter is she gave me a little jar, and inside the jar had little slips of paper of what she liked about me, and I still
Oh,
have them. So not that she's not never not nice, but if I ever need to get in that jar and go, see, you said this about me when you were in second grade.
that's really sweet. I love it.
But so that would be something that a lot of people could do. A lot of husbands could come here, kids. Secret.
Yeah.
They probably just put them in a jar and decorate it. That could be kind of. You
Yeah,
like
it's
jars?
kind of tricky to take your kids out shopping. So yeah, doing something homemade is definitely, and I think moms appreciate that sort of thing anyway because it's thoughtful. And I don't eat chocolate. I don't eat dairy. And so, I mean, I guess I could eat carob chocolate, but I like to be happy, so I'm not going to do that. So I don't eat chocolate, so that's kind of takes that off the table. And I don't eat treats and sweets. I have a really strict eating routine that I eat, and so it's difficult to get me the types of treats that you would normally do for a mom. So I've ruined the easy gifts.
I used to be addicted to Coca Cola. Oh my gosh, I
Oh,
love
I was addicted to
Coca.
Diet Coke. When I used to work at this company, they actually had the soda machines just unlimited, and you could drink all the soda you wanted all day long,
Oh
just like in a
wow,
restaurant. Yeah, with all the
wow,
different flavors.
and it
And I
tastes
was like a
really good.
Diet Coke fool.
I haven't had a sugary soda drink since January of 2018.
Oh, wow. Good for you. Yeah, I quit those too. They're no
But for the
bueno.
first 3 days, I was like, "I need a Coke, I need a Coca-Cola, I need a Coca-Cola."
I had headaches when I
Yeah.
had headaches when I broke my soda addiction. I haven't had a soda in, I don't even remember, years. It's been so long. That was like 2014. So I don't even remember when I've had one.
Wow,
No
that's a long
chocolate. Breaking
time.
news. Kristen A. Sherry does not eat chocolate. I know. I have not had a piece of chocolate since October of 2019. I changed my eating habits. Allison Buckland helped me get healthy, and I've lost 35 pounds, 37 pounds now, actually.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was in a size 16 and now I'm in a size 8. But I didn't
Woo!
do it. I didn't
Go,
do it
girl.
for, it was not hard either because I just followed a routine. I didn't do it for weight. I did it because I started having health problems and I thought, oh, it's just part of getting old. I had headaches, gastrointestinal problems, backaches, my knees hurt. No wonder I carried in a jug of cat litter the other day and it was 35 pounds. I'm like, how the heck was I carrying this around? It's so hard to get up the stairs with it. Seriously. So my knees hurt, my back hurt. I had high blood pressure. I had all kinds of GI tract issues and I had no energy and I couldn't play with my kids. And I was at the beach last week and I was running at full speed playing tag with my children. It changed my life to eat healthy foods. So it's not just the weight. I have more energy
Mhm.
and I have no pain. All my health issues are gone just from dietary changes. So since November 8th, when that was the day I started the dietary changes, I've only had one thing ever that isn't in the way that I eat, my lifestyle. I had a biscuit. I made homemade biscuits on Easter and I ate a biscuit because I can't eat gluten because I have gluten insensitivities. I have irritable bowel syndrome and it's not good when I eat gluten. And like 75% of people are lactose intolerant, but they don't realize it. So that's why we're all puffy when we get older because of the dairy a lot of times. Inflammation is real. So I got rid
It
of
is.
all the inflammation, which made me feel terrible. My hands and feet would hurt at the end of the day and they'd be swollen and achy. I could feel the veins ache at the top of my feet.
Oh,
So I don't
God.
eat dairy and biscuits have all that in there, dairy and gluten. So, but I had one biscuit.
Without, naming names, did anybody try to pop your bubble when you wanted to change your eating habits?
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
that's
I
good.
don't keep people in my life. People can give me feedback. I don't want a lot of like butt kissers around me. That's not what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I know what you mean.
Uh, but I don't keep people in my life that don't have my best interest in mind. So if I can, if people are not like that, they don't. I just out the circle. I forgive, I love, and all of that, but you're not going to be in my circle. So I never have that sort of thing happen with people because I don't. I vet people that are in my inner circle, and I return that. I'm not going to do the things either that I don't, that, I hold myself to the same standards, what I'm saying.
Very good. Very good.
And I don't even care if I'm related to you. Same rule
Oh,
applies. Yes. You know what? It sounds cliche to say it, but self-care matters. You know, if you
well,
don't,
yeah.
if you surround yourself with people who are poisoning your mindset, who are imposing their fears and limiting beliefs on you, it's going to alter the entire course of your life. And there's just one life.
Well, it depends on your reaction to it because if somebody I run into somebody and they randomly say something like, "Oh, you made a good run with your children's books." I'm like, "What do you mean I made a good run with the children?"
What does
Like,
that
what
mean?
I don't know. I don't know what that means. Like, so, like, I just sometimes I just try to turn that around and go, that makes me want to try even harder.
Oh yeah, I love the watch me mentality. Like when
Yes, I have
if
that.
people say, like, I did have one person, like I had set a goal and I said I'm going to do a TED talk, I'm going to build a following on LinkedIn, and I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to do all that in 3 years. And they were just like, "Oh, that's adorable." And I was like, "Okay." I wrote 3 books instead.
I'm not going to have 10 TED Talks, and you're not invited.
And you're not invited. But yeah, it is motivating when people tell you you can't do something. I mean, I suppose some people just give up, but for me, it's motivating when people tell me I can't do something. But that doesn't happen a lot because anyone who's been around me long enough knows that I do what I say I'm going to do.
Right. Well, so do I. But I'm 5'10", so back in the 70s and 80s, I was studying dance, and people were like, "You're too tall to be a dancer. You
Oh,
need to play
really?
basketball." I'm like, "No, basketball. I do not need to play basketball." And so, even in college, I was majoring in that, and it was really difficult
In
because
basketball?
no,
I'm
sorry,
kidding. I'm
in
kidding.
dance, no, in dance. And it was really hard to hear that you're what? You're too tall for that. I'm like, okay. So, I had
You're too, like, that is the worst way to start a sentence to people. You're too blank. Like,
sensitive. That's what I hear a lot.
you're too sensitive. You're
sensitive.
too bossy. You're too nosy. You're too, oh, that you're too. Says who? That's such an opinion.
Well, most of the time they're wrong, Kristin, when they say that about me.
Yeah, honestly,
Yes.
that's why I wrote the children's book series.
Yes. Tell us.
Because when I started working with adults and I would show them what their talents were, they would say, "Oh, I thought this was a weakness," or, "Oh, that's interesting because my grandmother used to always say," or my mother, or who my teachers, like, when people were really creative and had ideation, they would get in trouble in school for always having their head in the clouds. And they would be chalked up as, "You're never going anywhere because you're just checked out." But really, "You're too awesome" is good, Gabriel. I like that one. Whoever said "you're too awesome." But yeah, words are almost more damaging sometimes than slapping someone, because those words get in our head and they become beliefs, and then they govern our actions and our decisions. So kids set their beliefs by around age 8. Their belief in God or not in God or whatever, their belief in themselves, their beliefs about how about the people in their lives, just whatever they believe, those are set by around age 8, according to researchers. And so it's really difficult.
Well, children can't cut people out of their life. I mean, they can choose
Yeah.
friends to hang around more, but as far as family, they can't say, "Oh, I'm not going to be around so and so anymore."
No, right.
Right. So
Yeah.
they hear it a lot, because especially if it's this family member that's not being supportive or doesn't understand their gifts, right?
Right. And kids can tire us out. There's no doubt, because they ask a million questions, they throw tantrums and all of the things that they do. But it's way better to just, I will open the back door of the house and go stand on my back porch and close the door and just stand outside away from them before I say something that I can never pull back and that I'll regret. I'm very careful with my words.
Do you know what I used to do with my kids? Long time ago, when my kids would pitch a tantrum, and more often than not, we were in the middle of someplace like Target or the grocery store. So I would just let them lay down on the ground and scream. And then once they took a breath, I would say really loudly, "When is your mother coming home?" Snap right out of it. They would be like,
"What?
What do you mean?" It was like,
that's so funny.
And I would pretend like they weren't mine.
Oh, that is so funny.
I'd go like, "I'm tired of being your babysitter. This isn't cutting it for me." And
oh
then,
my gosh, I love that. I'm going to employ that
every time.
Oh my gosh, I'm stealing that. No, but seriously, when my boys were 10 and 6, that was the worst year. Gabriel yells at them in Spanish. My kids don't understand Spanish. That's a great idea, because I know some Spanish.
Learn another language.
But my boys went through this horrible period of fighting, and it got physical, and it was blood curdling. And I just would break out in show tunes. And they would just stop dead and just stare at me. And I'd be in the kitchen just singing from Les Miserables or whatever, because it when you sing, it does some great brain chemistry stuff, but also it helped get me mentally to a better place. And it was a huge, like the andiron cord on buses. It was like pulling the andiron cord with them. I would just break out in song. It worked like a charm. I need to start doing that again with my daughters.
And then
hello, Dolly.
And then try to pretend like you're not the mother.
Yeah, and of course they thought I was completely nuts, but it did the job, so I didn't care.
Exactly, and you're not harming them.
Nope.
I mean, pretending that you're not their mom or sing. I would love to hear you be in Target and then just bursting out into Les Mis or something.
I don't think I would do that in Target. That one's for home. I'm gonna employ your technique that I'm just the babysitter when I'm at Target.
Yeah, it works. Because when people look at you like you're the mother, do something, and I'm like, I'm not the mother.
Can I just say though that we need to stop judging each other? Like seriously, like we need to stop judging each other about our parenting. That to me is you look at 5 seconds of a person's life and you make a judgment that this person's a terrible mother, a terrible father. I mean, of course, it's hard not to do that if you see someone being like truly abusive. But I remember one time I was in Walmart. It was 11 o'clock at night and I caught myself judging. And the mother and father were there with 3 kids. They were all little and they were tired. It was 11 o'clock at night. They were tired and they were crying and she was really impatient with them. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, like, what are you doing why aren't your kids in bed? And then I read the book, I think it was 7 Habits of Highly Effective People with Stephen Covey. And he told the story about the time that he was on the train or whatever. He was on the public transportation system, I think in New York City. And there was this father on the bus with his kids. And he was just kind of looking down, just not paying attention. And the kids were wreaking havoc on this bus, freaking out, screaming, bumping into people. And Stephen Covey said to the father, he's getting more and more annoyed. And he said to the father, can you please, do something about your kids? They're disrupting everyone. And he just looked up from a fog and said, oh, I guess they are. And he said, we just came from the hospital. Their mother just died. Yeah. True story. True story. So he was distraught and completely checked out. That changed my life in not judging people in a moment. And I went back to that woman and thought, were they traveling through town
Maybe,
on the way to her mother's funeral and they had to make a stop to go to the bathroom? And, you just never know what people's situations are.
Yeah, or maybe they got displaced in their home and just trying to get, yeah, that's true. I would love it if we both have, kindness is both our things. And we try to, my mission is to help children navigate a difficult world. And I try to do that, talking about anxiety. And then you're trying to show kids what their talents are and, what their strengths are so that they can feel more confident and grow up in that confidence instead of trying to discover it when they're, in college or a college age. Not everybody needs to go to college, but like after they get out of high school, figure it out. Mm-hmm. Or maybe in their 50s and try to figure out. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, maybe you didn't have the resources to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really am committed to trying to bully-proof kids as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And I believe it's possible. And, people who listen to podcasts that I've been on know the story of my mother, who was very doted on by her siblings because there was 20 years between the oldest and she was the baby. And so she was treated like a princess. Her nickname was the Duchess when she was little. And her sisters were already married when she was born. So, yeah, they married young. So she she just grew up being treated like she was very special. And so when she went to school and was teased, and my mother is an indigenous Mohawk woman, I'm 50% Mohawk. And so she was teased, she had dealt with racism and all of that because she was born in the 40s. And when she went to school and was teased she'd be called a dirty Indian or whatever, she would say, well, that's not true. So you must be wrong. Because my grandmother would say to her, look around our house. Are we dirty? No. And my grandmother was a very proud woman. And so she would just stand up against those types of things and tell my mother what was what and build her confidence up. So my mother really she was like Teflon girl when people would say those things to her because she knew what was what.
Oh, that's really cool. Wow.
So it encouraged me, you know what, maybe I can bully. And I really worked to bully proof my own kids. And I feel like it really helped them get through middle school because I was bullied in middle school and it was a horrific experience. And, kids they have no filters, no self-control, and they're insecure and figuring themselves out. And so they say and do things that they don't understand the implications. And they also, if they're being verbally cut down, they're just going to go and take that out on other people. So I got this idea when I started to work with adults that had this imposter syndrome and confidence issues and all of this stuff that we deal with. I thought, what if I got to kids earlier? And what if I helped them realize all of these amazing things about themselves that they can actually hold on to? What if that could make a difference? And so I'm going to try that. And that's my goal. And after I'm finished working with elementary kids and I've built programs for teachers to use in schools to accompany the books.
Yes.
And the back of the book has ideas for parents to really kind of keep developing the information that the child learns about them, about their specific talents and skills and personality, etc. But I'm going to tackle middle school next. I'm going to start writing chapter books for middle schoolers. Yeah.
We talked about that on our call. I'm like, you can do this for I said, don't leave out the middle schoolers.
No. Yeah.
Because it's so important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With my book, Pika Bunny Says Eep, that's where Pika Bunny helps a friend say no to bullying. And I'd love to go to schools. And
I love this.
He's a hero. Because my friend and neighbor Mary Alice said, Wendy, you need to write a Pika Bunny book about bullying. She said that about 2 years ago or 3 years ago now. And I was like, how do I do that? Nobody wants to talk about bullying. Like, I'm kind of scared to do that. But I went to the library. I read all the kids' books I could find on bullying to see what had already been said. And then I decided that I was going to make my stories not really linear. It just Pika Bunny's asking some big random questions to adults because a lot of times kids don't want to ask adults.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they ask adults, they're not getting the help they need. They're told they're tattling and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it just doesn't occur to them to share what's happening. They just sort of absorb it.
And, I'm not blaming it on anybody, but sometimes people, maybe it doesn't register with the adult, like what's going on.
It's brushed off too. Oh, just ignore it. They're jealous of you.
Yes. But if it's ongoing, like you ask if a 5-year-old what bullying is in school, and then more than one person says, yeah, it's an act of kindness. It's done over and over and over to make you feel bad about yourself. I'm like, you're 5. How do you know that? You're 5 years old.
There's posters around my daughter's school that say, when someone hurts your feelings unintentionally, that's thoughtless or something. When someone hurts your feelings on purpose, that's mean. When someone repeatedly hurts you on purpose, that's bullying. Yeah, they actually have it defined so that kids can see the difference.
Right. Because I talk about that when I visit schools. I'm like, if somebody accidentally elbows you in line, that's not bullying.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they do it all the time to you in every situation to make you feel bad. And I was telling the premise of Pika Bunny Says Eep when Eep was still on the editing mode. And I said, all you have to do is say Eep, which means no. And you don't have to have this big long thing, paragraph, this big long speech. Don't yell, because if you yell, then the bully has control over you and the bully's happy. And I said, but if you see somebody doing bullying, just all you have to do is say eep, because they want to say something, but they don't know what to say. So while I'm telling the group, I noticed that I heard some kids talking on the side, and I walked over, and then there was one little girl in a circle of people, and her eyes were huge, and she was looking up at me. And then I heard somebody say eep, and I said, is it working? And all the kids around the little girl went like this. So the little girl learned, I can't win at this, because there's too many witnesses. And if 8-10 people are just saying no, not screaming, it really does work.
Yeah.
So, we can't always control what other people do, but we can just say no in a group setting, just like that. No.
I like that you gave them a code word, because sometimes no is hard for people because they're socialized. Don't tell me no, by their parents or whatever. It's tricky because we have to raise our children with this balance of having respect for people, but also holding their boundaries. It's really difficult to do that. I mean, we don't even do it ourselves well. We don't manage those boundaries ourselves well as adults. I've gotten really good at it lately because I've had to. I've been very selfish pulling into my book writing. I'm writing 7 days a week, and I have a lot of people pulling at me for different things. And sometimes people don't take it well when you say no. So I've had to really learn how to not own other people's disappointment, because I'm not responsible for that.
Right, because some people they get very
hurt feelings, offended, or
I can show up, but I'll only be at half mast. Like, I'm not gonna. You don't want that.
Well, the challenge for me is, like, I'm known for being a helpful person, right? So I'm known for answering questions and helping. And so when someone writes me and says, "Oh, can you hop on a call with me and do this, that, or the other," or whatever I'm being asked for, and then it's like, oh, so that's just a show in your posts that you're so helpful. But when people privately come and ask you, and it's like, yeah, but you're one of 20 people who just asked me today. And that's what people don't think about. It's like, it's just 10 minutes, but it's not just you asking.
Right. And it's like,
that's the thing.
Wendy, you're supposed to be about kindness. And I'm like, I am, but I just can't. Like, I have in 30 minutes.
Kindness starts at home.
Kindness doesn't mean I'm a welcome mat either. It doesn't mean that just because you ask me, I have to say yes at any moment because I'm about kindness. I hope. I mean, that's not what kindness is supposed to be.
Gabriel, do you ever come into this show, or are you going to be invisible forever? I'm supposed to break the fourth wall here. I think you should join us. There we go. That's so fun to have you here.
So, yes, ladies, you guys have been doing an excellent job. I've been monitoring the comments and the conversation. But a lot of the points you guys are touching on, right? About kids, about everything that's going on right now, and how you guys are having to deal with it. You guys are dealing with it from the mother's perspective. And I know you guys have a lot to put on your shoulders. I know my wife has a lot to put on her shoulders. She's essentially having to become not only a wife, a mother, a housewife, homemaker, and now teacher.
Yeah.
Full time. That's a lot to put on her plate on top of what she already had. So, I do understand where a lot of the frustrations and this sort of thing. And I try to be, sometimes I do feel, as a man, I do feel guilty because, here I am doing this, right? And this is a passion for me. She knows that. She loves me enough to say, I'm going to let you go do this an hour every day. And it's actually more than an hour because of all the work that I do prior, but I know that sometimes when she reaches that breaking point, that I have to step in and go, okay, step away. I'll handle it from here, because again, I know that you get that point to where you just had your limit. So
Yeah, that happened to me. I had my limit yesterday. My daughter was in rare form, not just the paint yesterday, but she stacks things to get into cupboards and areas that she shouldn't get into. And she was just unearthing all of the stuff. And I said to my husband, I need to just get out of the house. And my daughters convinced me to take them with me to Target. I needed some food. We needed food. So I go to cross the street to the grocery store at Target, and they were a nightmare. They were just whining about what they wanted, and I would say no, and it was just my 3-year-old was touching everything, and I just said to my husband, remind me next time not to bring them. And when I got home, I said, I just need a break. And I went upstairs, and he showed up with a glass of wine, and I had a hot bath and relaxed. And I was like, oh, he gets me.
And that's some of the things that I've kind of told my wife is, hey, get on a Zoom call with your friends. I'll set up a whole table. You can drink wine. I'll keep the kids away. Try to do these sort of things, because I know before all this happened, I would let her get out and go have friend time, adult time, because she's always around with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So she's at home all the time. I'm out in the working world. I go do a regular job. I come home. At that point in my day, I want to be home already. I know that she's been home all day, so
yeah,
you get to that point where she's got to step out and go be an adult.
It's important to go outside every day too, because it's really easy to just stay in the house. But if you don't get enough vitamin D, you got to get adequate sleep, eat healthy foods. You have to drink 64 ounces or more of water every day, and get sunshine. If you are not doing those 4 things, you're gonna derail, because you are not doing the basics of a healthy lifestyle. And exercise. 5 things. You have to do 5 things.
Yeah. And
listen
again,
to me preaching.
No, essentially, just by the fact that, that everything that's been going on, everybody's having to change habits, changing the way that they're living and doing these sort of things, right? I think it's more important now to, when you get the opportunity to have adult interaction, human interaction in some forms, to go ahead and see somebody, say hello to a neighbor, say whatever it is, because again, you start getting, you get stuck around these same 4 walls. It can be very detrimental, physically, mentally. There's some, the only good thing that I can say that has been good for my wife, with everything going on, she gets a lot more sleep. Essentially because the kids are
not having to get them up as early for school.
Yeah, so because of beforehand, my day would be starting at 3:45, and then she would have to get up at 5 o'clock, 5:30, start getting her lunches ready.
My goodness.
I have 4 kids, and they're all still young. So,
Wow.
my oldest is 12. I have a now 10-year-old, and then I have a 6 and a 5. So they're all still.
That's a lot of homeschooling. I don't even know how she's doing that.
Well, here's the thing that we've had to do is, like, we got to schedule it now. So, and the thing that's kind of really great, thank God for this, is my daughter's really technically savvy, so she doesn't even have to worry about her. She can.
She's self-directed.
Yeah, so she can get on. She has to actually help my wife figure out Zoom calls, figure out.
Oh, that's so funny. The 12-year-old.
Yeah, so because she was actually on the Genius Bar at school whenever she was in there, because she knows how to write code. She's learning how to do a lot of the technical stuff. So,
are you teaching her to do all this stuff that you do with your LinkedIn Live? You should, if you haven't.
Well, we have at some point. Hey, Brian, what's up, my friend? Essentially, she started out with me learning how to do the technical part. So, she's learning how to do this anyway on her own, because she's going to be setting up her own live streaming gaming. That's what
nice. Like a Twitch account?
Yes. So she's going to be doing that on her own. And again, she's smart enough to know how to do these things. So at least I know I have that covered at home while I'm at work. So I don't get the phone calls. Hey, how do I do this? Oh my God, I'm frustrated to the point of wanting to throw the laptop, wanting to kick
That's
because
good. Hey,
yeah.
I'll give y'all a tip. You know what some of my friends have been doing is they've been taking their folding chairs and their little lawn chairs, going to friends' houses, but just like a friend's house, like arranging a time, and they go and sit like 10 feet down the driveway.
Yeah, we do that. We do neighborhood coffees around here where we sit in the driveways and we bring a chair. It's fun. Or you sit in the back of your.
I just did one and I was like, this is a great idea. You're nowhere near anyone and you bring your own chair so you're not touching anybody's stuff.
Yeah.
And I parked in the driveway, put my chair right in front of it. We were like 10 feet away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this was really fun. I need to do more of those.
Yeah, my wife did that the week before. Yeah, last week. Yeah, I took her to a friend's house. I said, here, look, I packed your wine in a cooler. Here's your cup.
I didn't bring wine. I'll remember that for next time.
But I took her over there, dropped her off with her friend, said, give me a phone call whenever you're ready. I'll come pick you up. And, you're
so old school. You actually like phone call?
Well, yeah.
I like texting everything.
Well, here's the problem with texting, right? Whenever I'm around, right? So sometimes my daughters come and get my phone, and
you need to hear it ring.
Yeah. So if I don't see it, like she's gonna be like, "Hey, I texted you like 20 minutes ago. Where are you at?" And I'll be like, I don't know. I didn't hear.
Call me.
So yeah.
I have to text my husband to prove I told him something. So I'm like, remember that? Like 2 days ago, and I'll scroll through where I said that. Okay.
I do have to admit, as a male, we are terrible at that. I know that I am, and gosh, I've gotten to the point where now you have to use my phone since I started doing these shows and having to learn how to schedule. So as soon as she tells me something, I go, okay, hold on. I get it down and put it in my phone because before I would just nod my head, yes.
Oh, I'm the same way. If I don't type it out or write it down, it didn't happen.
It did, yeah. So
and it won't happen.
She'll tell me, hey, you remember when I told you this? And I go,
oh my goodness. Hey, Gabriel.
Yes.
I just want to thank you for this opportunity to take over your broadcast and your podcast. And, you've been very, inspirational for me. I don't really want to plug this, but like in 3 hours, my podcast comes live.
Yes.
And I just want to thank you for this opportunity today. And I just knew Kristin and I would have fun. I hope you had fun, Kristin.
Of course.
You had fun.
I've had a blast.
We were going to talk about the creative process and how to write a children's book, and we forgot to because we got so swept up with.
So that's what I tell people, right? This is what I tell people when I do my live show. Come on and talk, and it'll be the fastest hour that you've had, because everything can start. You start talking about one thing, you start getting on a tangent, you start getting really involved in the conversation, and before you know it, guys, it's already been an hour. And I tell everybody, hey, it's been an hour. They get off, they're surprised that they were on an hour.
Yeah.
And I go, that's how fun it is. So
I did a 2-hour podcast one time. No, it was like 2 hours and 45 minutes or something crazy, like with Christina Yeoman.
Yeah.
It was a marathon because we just kept talking about all this stuff, and finally I was like, oh man, I gotta pee.
So yeah, that can happen. I've actually did that with I was on for 2 hours and 15 minutes with Brian Shulman, and we were just talking. Same sort of deal.
Yes.
We just go and go, start going, and then gosh, before you know it, you're looking at the clock. I go, God, we've been on for 2 hours, and because the conversation is, again, you're getting to be an adult.
I'll tell you what, if I ever decide, which right now I'm not, but if I ever decide to apply for LinkedIn Live, you got to do all this fancy stuff for me. I love fancy.
Yeah,
I am all about the fancy. This is so impressive how you have all of the comments up on the screen. I don't even have the foggiest clue how you do all of this.
I don't either. All of a sudden it would come up and I'm like, oh, look, Anna Savino's watching. Oh my gosh. I love Anna.
Anna's awesome. She
I know.
yeah, she and I have not really had a lot of time to like talk like ever one-on-one, but I love the stuff she talks about on
Yeah, you
LinkedIn.
see her
Yeah.
everywhere. So it's kind of like me and Lila, right? I see Lila everywhere. She's all over the place. We actually live in the same cities, and it's hard for us to get connected. But again, it's because you're always so busy, and life just happens, and it's hard to
She's
get.
got some serious goals right now that she's working towards, so that's why she's hunkered
Yeah.
down.
Oh, I know. And but again, hats off to her for doing all that. Heck, hats off for doing the whole Shakespeare thing. That was a lot of undertaking to put all that stuff
Crazy,
together. Yeah.
absolutely. I was Sonnet 19.
Wow. You even remember your sonnet number. That's
I
awesome.
do.
So
It was a lot of fun. I was really happy to do it because it was funny. She asked me and I'm like, "Well, I'm not an actor." And she's like, "But you're a creative. You're an artist." And I was like, "Oh, I guess I am."
Yeah,
And it
you
was this
are.
weird light bulb moment. Seriously, it was the first time that I realized I'm an artist. Like 2 weeks ago.
well, that's what I tell everybody, right? So this is what I call everybody. I call everybody a creative soul. And there's a reason for it, because at some form in your life you have that need for self-expression, and creativity does not have to be with a pen stroke, with a paintbrush,
Right.
with the lyric. Creativity and being a creative person can be writing a career book, writing children's, all this stuff. You are a creative person. I just think that people kind of just narrowly define it as thinking that's what being creative is. And I tell people, no, if you're a public speaker, you have to be creative to write a speech, get on stage, talk to
True.
people,
Right.
connect. That's it goes beyond just what you think your idea of being creative is. So I tell everybody, come on, you can come on my show. We can talk about the creative process. We can talk about positivity, because those are the two things that I really, really, really love talking about, and I love stressing every day. And
Well, exactly. And like as an author, you don't have to have a big, huge, fancy wooden desk. Um, I do some of my best thinking right here in my closet. It's not fancy at all. I record my podcast here. Sometimes I just get away in the clubhouse and
I
yes,
write
bring some
most of my
paper and
books in my
pencil.
bed.
so
Yeah.
real quick, right on with Wendy Gihula. Guys, check it out. New podcast coming out, dropping tomorrow.
So
So
exciting.
yes, so that's awesome that you're doing this and stepping out. And you know, I just tell people like this: um, put your put that first step forward, and then see where the journey takes you. Because again, you never know where it might lead you. So here I am. I get to have you two ladies on with myself, and this is all because I took that first step of sitting in my garage, setting up a table, turning on cameras and lights, and saying,
Yeah.
"Let's create." And that's essentially what's happened. And again, I get the opportunity to bring on so many. This is my therapy in some forms, because I get to talk to somebody new every day.
That's awesome.
I get
Yeah.
to I get to hear people's not only their failures but their successes and their experiences. So for me, um, my goal is to do 100 episodes, and then I'm going to write a book.
Oh, I love that
Um,
you're going to write a book. We should
Are
talk.
you going to have an app too? If you're going to have some apps, let me know. I can help you out
yeah.
with that.
So I'm going to write a book on about the whole.
Kristin, you need an app.
So yeah,
I do.
You need. You got like 7 books coming out, and then you got children's. You should be able to go.
I've written 7. I'll have 9 written by the end of the summer. Yeah, it's crazy.
Be an interactive app. How to do? Hey, let me show you the UMAP app. Here it is. There
I
it
was
is.
thinking about creating a masterclass for people who want to write books, because I figured out a formula and it works really well. Of course, you got to tweak it for what works for you. But you're right when you say just take a step. It sounds so cliche, but there's an opportunity cost beyond, like when you don't pursue your dream, there's an opportunity cost beyond not not just pursuing the dream. It's the other dreams that the dream inspires, to your point. Like it leads to the next step and the next and the next.
Yeah,
And
that's why I have
yeah.
the Right Kind podcast. It's for people who are trying to either start their first draft with the children's book or get to that first draft. Because what I really love to do when I consult is jump in to that story and then ask big questions.
Yeah, you ask really good questions. So I'll tell you what Wendy did for me, which I never would have thought of. So I, in very dramatic fashion, read her the manuscript of You've Got Gifts, my first children's book. I've written 2 now, but that was the first one. And I read it to her. And so in summary, that character that you see, Katarina, the woodland fairy at the bottom, the main character is her, and then this 6-year-old girl, Evelyn, who's not pictured. And the characters are my daughters. Like that's what my daughter looks like. I sent pictures of my kids to the illustrator. So it's just like my gift to them. But anyway, so what happened was I'm telling the story from Evelyn sitting on a rock and feeling sad because she doesn't think she's good at anything. And so I read the whole book, and Wendy says, Katarina is actually the main character of this book, but you started the conversation in Evelyn's head. And I was like, that is a huge, epic flaw that I had no idea, because I'd never written a children's book. And she's like, you really should start the story with Katarina in the woods peering out and seeing Evelyn crying on the rock. And I was like, you just saved my children's book. Like seriously, anybody who knows what they're doing.
Well, you had all this information in that. Oh, sorry. Here's Maddie. Maddie came by to say hello in the club.
Hey, Maddie.
You had so much information, and I kept thinking, what age is she going in? And then I said, you have a 4-book series.
That's what she also told me. I was trying to cram 10 pounds of potatoes into a 5-pound bag. She said, this is not 1 book. This is 4 books.
Yeah.
And so, you said, what? What do you mean?
So guess what that led to? That led to me, of course, creating the idea for the box set. But that led to Lila Smith now becoming an author. Because now that there was 4 books, I said to Lila, why don't you co-author this one with me? So now we've finished that book. Lila and I have finished the book.
And you're going out to the middle school ones? Like I said, please don't leave the middle school.
I am definitely going to the middle schoolers. Don't worry. Middle school was horrible. I want to help them.
Exactly.
It all started with taking that step in writing a children's book. So that kind of.
Do you know Shar Auckland texted me and said, you really should write a children's book about all this stuff.
Wow.
I had zero intention of ever writing a children's book. She kept at it. She's like, you should write a children's book. You should write a children's book. And finally I was like, fine.
I'll write a children's book just to you. Be quiet. I'll show you.
What's that? Other ones, as you write them, I'm a beta reader of the children's book series.
You're too sweet. Thank you.
So, and that kind of goes back to my favorite quote by motivational speaker Les Brown. And this is what he's talking about when he says taking the first step. He goes, the graveyard is the richest place on earth because it is here that you will find all the hopes, dreams that were never fulfilled, the books that were never written, the songs that were never sung, the inventions that were never shared, the cures that were never discovered, all because somebody was too afraid to take that first step.
That's depressing. That fits right in with what I always say. I always say that one of the biggest tragedies in life is that people go through life leaving their gifts unwrapped and return to the Creator with those gifts unused. Yes.
And again, I tell anybody and everybody who will perk up their ear and listen, there's no dumb idea. There's no all this stuff that you're afraid to do. Go out there and do it anyway, because you never know. Yeah, you never know where it'll. Yeah, you don't know where it'll take you. Impact and
share it with one friend that you trust, and if that friend doesn't know that you paint, for example, just let them know beforehand before you show them the painting, so they could wrap their heads around. Oh, my friend paints, and then just share it. Just have courage to just share it with one person that you feel safe with.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have more confidence to share more and then put it out in the world.
Well, the beauty is when you're willing to put yourself out there, people help you make things better. It's an iterative process to create things or to build something. Like, so the UMAP book is way better than it was when I wrote it because I had beta readers. And they would say, I don't understand what you're saying here. So it gave me an opportunity to rewrite it. So feedback is a gift because it helps you bring your vision to reality in a much better way than you even envisioned it. And that's okay.
Yeah, as long as you don't get too personally, like, just let it happen and see what the feedback is. And if it makes sense to you, you take it.
Yeah, you don't have to take all the feedback.
You just leave. Just, take what you need and leave the rest.
But those are all learning lessons, though. These are things that people are trying to. Same thing here. People are seeing that my show is attracting attention, so people are reaching out to me, trying to help me behind the scenes. Say, hey, what are you doing to do this? What are you doing to do that? And I tell them, well, I'm still green, so let's talk about these things and at least explore ideas. I never close the door to opportunity. Because again, you're leaving yourself out there, and you could leave your gifts unwrapped. You never know.
You know what? You just raised a really good point, though, Gabriel. I get people writing me all the time saying, you should do this. You should write a book about that. It's really important to know what your definite purpose is in life, because if you don't have a mission, like you have the mission of spreading kindness, right? So if you don't have a mission, the mission is what all your goals hang off of.
Yeah.
And you'll get swept away with people's ideas or what I'll go do that. And you spread yourself so thin that you can't make an impact. So it's really easy for me to say, thanks for the idea, and then just shuffle it off, because I know, no, I don't want to write a book on how to growth hack on LinkedIn, because first of all, I don't growth hack. I've built relationships over the 6 years I've been using it. I've never growth hacked. So why would I write a book about that? And number two, what does it have to do with helping people build confidence through self-awareness? Because that's my mission in life.
Exactly.
Yeah. So again, that's why at every point along this journey, I've stopped at some point to say, I have to reevaluate at every single point, because then I smart goal out what I want to do going forward, and what I want to concentrate on, and what I want to build upon, because that's kind of going to help me funnel all my energy and all my passion to where I want to go as a creator. So you have to do this. That's why I said the next goal is 100 episodes, and at that point,
you'll be there tomorrow.
That's right.
I will stop. I will reevaluate. I will go, okay, what am I doing? What's going on? What are some of the things that maybe I can change, or should I continue to do this? So I did this I just did 50 episodes. So I did kind of stopped and did that myself and said, going forward, what do I still want to start doing with the next 50 episodes? Because I am going to do 100. So I've kind of reevaluated it every single point to kind of go, okay, what do I have to do? What have I learned so far? And what can I do going forward to help me change and grow? Because this is an ever-growing, developing process.
Do you get to keep the videos here? Can you put them on YouTube, or can you download them? Okay, I didn't know how that worked.
They're all on YouTube.
Everywhere, Kristin.
Yeah, they're all on YouTube. As soon as this is done, it's already up on YouTube.
The reason I asked that is because if you're going to do so many, it would be a shame for LinkedIn to be owning them. So that's good that you can put them other places.
Oh, no, I do that, and then I take. Here's what I do. So as part of my learning process, I take small pieces of content from each video that I like. I trim it down to 1.5 minutes. I'll put a little introduction at the beginning, intro at the end, and then I'll go share it out on social media, because it's got a small message that I can go out there and reshare as many times as I want. Again, this is the creative process. This is for me. This is for me the fun part of what I'm doing, and I get to share it with not just myself, but with whoever turns on their social media page and wants to watch with me. And for me, that's what I'm grateful at the end of every single day, is I get to go out and hopefully at some point make an impact on somebody. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but impact doesn't have to happen right away.
Consistency is so important. It's not sexy. What's the secret to success? Consistency. It's really not sexy advice,
It's
but
showing
it's 100% the
work and
truth.
showing up. Yeah, that's
Because
true.
I continue to like, oh, how did you build a following on LinkedIn? How do you written so much books? How many?
No magic wand.
Consistency. And
Yep.
consistency is my number 34 strength on Gallup Strengths Finder, my last one. It's my greatest weakness. So
Oh,
it's
interesting.
possible. If it's possible for me, I'm not naturally consistent. That's the reason I've never applied for LinkedIn Live, because I don't want to have to do something regularly. I want to do what I feel like it when I feel like it. I don't want to be beholden to having to use it.
Yeah. So, and again, that's kind of like how I got access to it. So I told them, essentially, because not everybody has it, the process is kind of hard if you don't have it, that you have to apply and apply. Sometimes people have applied 4 or 5 times, but I tell them like this. Here's the thing. I just went on there and tell them how much I want to use it, how much I love using it, and this is why. And essentially they kind of said, okay, show us examples. And I said, okay, this is the key. Like you said, consistency. So by that point, I had already done 30 episodes. I was doing it every single day.
Oh, wow.
Monday through Friday, every single day. I do this every single day, Monday through Friday, 7:00 every evening, whether I have a guest or not. So that's the whole point. It's been a big undertaking. Yes, it is. But again, that's also what's part of unique what I'm doing. Not everybody can do this.
Yeah,
I'm
I
impressed on how
cannot.
seamless that you've done tonight. I mean,
Yeah.
we just had a little meeting, and then you and I checked on Facebook, make sure that was working today, and you really made it easy.
Yeah.
And I didn't break it. I'm so happy.
Actually, we've made it better. So, and again, this is what I tell everybody who I see. There's some people out there, and I know people that are out there who want to use social media, but they don't want to deal with the technical aspect. And that's why I'll tell them, look, if you want to do that, let me be your guy. I promise I will put my heart and soul into what you're doing so that you can be just as proud as I am of what I create.
You're really good at all of this. I seriously would hire you if I had the interest in using LinkedIn Live. I don't want LinkedIn Live, so
well,
but if
I get there, Gabriel, I'll let you know. I get to LinkedIn Live.
But this again, then going forward, this is even the idea of getting guest hosts, right? This is what I say when somebody says, "Well, how will that work?" I've had people ask me, "Well, how will that work?" Well, tonight I'm showing you how it's going to work. I don't have to be a part of the broadcast to get everything go on. As long as I can pre-show everything, get everything ready ahead of time, and get things going, you can do a show flawlessly, and you won't even know I exist. And that's the whole point. So, I got to give thank you, first of all, both you ladies for taking the time out of your evenings to join me. And then everybody else who's kind of joined along. And then guys, even on LinkedIn, thank you, Steve Sullivan. Steve Sullivan was commenting a while ago.
He's a great guy. Him and his bolo tie.
I love Steve. Steve was one of the first guys who reached out to me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, same
He's
here.
a certified UMAP coach. I got to meet him in person recently. It was cool. He was in Charlotte, so we social distanced. We sat 6 feet apart.
Yeah, it was right before that started.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
we had breakfast, and then I almost ran into lunch at here in Knoxville. We were talking so long. He said he was on his way to see you. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I have a prayer request if you would be so inclined.
Please do.
I have not told anybody this.
Please do.
Something really exciting I found out today. A mutual friend has written, Gretchen Rubin is going to send a draft of my book to her to see if she'll agree to write the blurb for the back of the book.
Oh, that's
if you all could pray that she likes it and she's willing to do it, that would be great.
I'll pray on this right here.
Awesome.
See that right there?
There you go. Very good. Yeah,
I take that by me every day. I do draw strength in so many different avenues to just be who I am. And I try to tell everybody that gets to know me, if you ever meet me in person, this is what I am off the air, on air, whatever you want to call it, because this is all I know how to be. And it didn't happen overnight. It took going through dark periods like everybody who at some point in their life have crossed that bridge. But it's how you come out on the other side, and how many times, even if you fall down and step down, how many times you're going to get up and do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I do. This is who I am as a person, and hey, I'm going to be saying prayers for you, Gretchen.
I appreciate it very much.
Gretchen, if you're not watching, I'll cut this down into a piece and I'll send it to her.
Oh, don't do that. I don't want to put pressure on her.
So thank you, ladies. We've been on for an hour and 30 minutes almost now, and we've had so much fun. I've had so much fun. And, I even get to see I get all notifications. So I know that Diana Nguyen is doing a live on Instagram. So I want to go catch that a little bit. I'm trying to get her on my show. We're trying to do that logistically.
Right.
Because I love what she does as well. I love her attitude.
Diana is my girl. I love her.
Hey, Gabriel, what hat are you wearing?
Oh, let me show you, as a matter of fact.
I just realized that.
So you guys, if you ever send me swag, I always take a hat and I always wear it, and I will mark it. So
it's fine. I just saw it. Like, I didn't even think about it because you said you were going to wear it, and I totally
have UMAP decals for cars, but I don't have a hat. I need to get UMAP hats. I want to get UMAP T-shirts where people can have their UMAP on their T-shirt.
Awesome. So
go watch Diana and tell her I said hello, because I need to go right.
Yeah, I'm fixing to be off though. So, all right. Well, I guess it's time to get off of here because my dog is in here now.
Yes, mine. Ruby stays in the clubhouse.
If he starts going nuts, guys, you won't hear anything I'm saying. So, ladies, thank you again for coming on this evening. Thank you, Wendy Gihula. Check out her podcast starting tomorrow, right on with Wendy Gihula.
Yeah, 2.5 hours.
Oh my goodness.
You can also check out Kristin A. Sherry. Go to her website at myumap.com. Check it out. You can also check out all her past books that she's written. And then you can also look out pretty soon. I don't know exactly when, but her children's book series.
November 10th.
So, guys, circle it on your map. No, circle it on your calendar. On your map.
UMAP. I'm indoctrinating you.
Yes, it is. You're subliminally putting messages into my head. So thank you guys again for joining me.
And
thank
I put messages on your head.
Yes. So I'm getting marketed in every single way possible. So I better get out of here before I even forget who I am. So, guys, thank you for having me. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you, Gabriel.
Evening.
Thank you so much, Wendy, for being a gracious host.
Kristin.
And thank you, guys. I'll be back tomorrow night, 7 o'clock with Di Manuel. He's going to be my guest tomorrow. We're going to have a nice little conversation and talk about how he's changed his journey from weight loss and how he's becoming a better person. He's wanting to share that with the audience.
I'm going to have to tune in for that.
Yes. So
yeah, you will.
Tomorrow, 7 o'clock, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Sherry. Y'all have a great evening. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.